of America. I'm Steve Gruber, ready to deliver an inclusive and diverse discussion of the most important topics of the day, giving you better analysis and insight than anyone else. I'll shine a spotlight into the darkness of the swamp and deliver truth and justice when you need it most. Here are three big things you need to start your day today. Number one, Bud Light dumping millions of dollars into emergency advertising campaigns in an all-out effort to stop the collapse of the top beer brand following the disastrous deal with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. I'll tell you how it's going. Number two, another bank failure. Emergency moves all weekend for First Republic plus Lyft, Gap, and Disney all make dramatic workforce cuts. Nice work, Joe. And number three, the failures of this administration are many, and anyone who cares, to be honest, knows that. I mean, you can start with the border where tens of thousands of people are staging to prepare an all-out invasion in less than 2 weeks. And you can work your way from there. The poor economy, the ruthless attacks on American energy and energy independence, the follies into the war in Ukraine, the failure to hold China accountable for much of anything, and the list goes on. Yes, the list is long. Because there's no sense of urgency in anything, it seems, for Joe Biden and company unless it's gutting the American economy or giving transgender women women's rights. These appear to be the priorities of the socialist Democrats in Washington and across the country. And while this is happening, there are legitimate catastrophic issues that are being ignored. I'm going to dig into these for you more often because the corporate media is not willing or genetically not capable of looking out for you or telling you the truth anymore. Either way, they have failed America. And they continue to do so every single day. I will not. Now, you have heard me mention this before, and today I'm going to discuss with you in detail the trail of devastation across this country in the wake of more than 200 hospitals, most of them serving rural communities that have gone bankrupt in the past few years, leaving millions of us without health care nearby, and that's just the beginning. Today, according to the most recent Center for Healthcare Quality and Payment Reform report, more than 600 hospitals, 600, are in financial crisis today. 200 of those are in danger of closing immediately, as in today. That's right, America could lose another 200 hospitals in the very near future. Now, that means millions more could soon find themselves so far from the nearest emergency room that a heart attack or a car accident that would have been survivable before becomes deadly. And what is Joe Biden and his team doing? Well, not much, actually. In fact, hospitals in border states are in critical condition, like the one in Yuma, Arizona, that is so overwhelmed from illegal migrants that it is reported losing more than $20 million a month, which, of course, is clearly unsustainable. It's so bad in Yuma that locals there say they cannot even get into the hospital because it's full all the time with people in this country illegally. And that's just one example. And when the massive surge of humanity comes in about 10 days, that dangerous situation is certainly going to get worse. According to that CHQPR report, states with the highest percentage of at-risk hospitals include Alabama, Arkansas, Connecticut, Hawaii, Kansas, Mississippi, New York, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Texas. All across the spectrum. Blue states, dark blue states, deep red states. Failure across the board. For some hospitals, they're cutting services as they try to stay financially afloat. One of the most common services to be cut is the maternity ward. You see, the commercial appeal reveals this big problem, and that is what people are doing when the hospitals are no longer able to treat patients. Listen to this.
Where we're in trouble is after the doors close at 5 o'clock. And for folks that used to use the emergency room for treatment, now they're using the ambulances for treatment. But what if you're having a heart attack here and you're 30 minutes away from the closest medical facility in the evening? Now, in the daytime, we can probably take care of it with fast pace, with our regular doctors that are here. Now, they can probably stabilize you to get you there. But after hours is the problem.
Yeah. Which brings me to another problem. That is, ambulance services are also going bankrupt all over this country at an alarming rate. People are turning to ambulance services for primary health care. If the hospital closes at 5 o'clock and you can't get in, and you're sick, you're at home, Whatever the case may be, send the ambulance. Now think about this. When do you think about the local hospital or ambulance service? When do you? Well, if you don't work there, then it's something you think about only when you need it, in an emergency. And the issue is the healthcare emergency of closing hospitals and ambulance services is something that almost nobody is paying attention to. And for the communities that were receiving massive amounts of COVID money during the pandemic, that money has dried up. And with that comes tremendous financial pressure on those hospitals that were surviving from the government handouts. It's not just healthcare that's affected. The loss of these hospitals rips and ripples through a community. It goes all the way through. The loss of a hospital can be the death knell for an entire region, especially one a long way from anywhere else, because it rips the foundation out from under these people. Listen.
But in a broader sense, it also means that there will be a lack of economic development related to access to health care when people just don't choose to live in a community where they can't access care or have a baby or activities like that. So what we find in most rural communities is that the hospital is an anchor for economic development all throughout the community. So the hospital closes, the pharmacy closes, the grocery store closes, and then the community just kind of falls down.
The problem is not just emergency, according to those in the front lines either. You see, people that find themselves without a hospital that is convenient, those folks often decide not to seek out normal testing and screenings and so forth. I mean, if you go from having a local facility to having to drive an hour or sometimes more, then you got to take a day off from work or take the kid out of class for the day just to go get a physical or mammogram or colonoscopy. Well, a lot of folks have decided it's not worth it. And as a result, people are dying from preventable illnesses at a far higher rate in America because they never get checked for a bunch of stuff. They don't go to the doctor. It's a matter of life and death, and that is true across the board. Listen to this.
And the data shows that actually after a rural hospital closes, mortality rates increase by 8%. So it's a danger to the community, especially when you're having a heart attack or a stroke or a loved one is going through that. With regard to non-emergency services, that's important too, primary care, obstetrical care, and when those things fall down, the community suffers.
And it really is the golden hour. It's that golden hour he mentioned there that matters the most. Here it is.
And you can't necessarily say in every case how it's going to turn out, but the further you are from healthcare, when you have a health event, the worse your chances of survival are.
So there's the problem laid out for you. What is your government doing about this? Not much, really. We're on the fast track to government health care controlled from start to finish. Universal health care is on the way because of the failures, it appears to be intentional in many ways, of destroying the health care system in America for red states and rural areas first. Do you think the MAGA crowd's getting targeted? Gee, I don't know. Look at the map. I'll have more on this in a moment. Welcome to it. It's the Steve Gruber Show.